All right, so we're back again. Needless to say, we're back again because the world really seems out of kilter. Um, I don't want to go into who did what, when, why, where, et cetera, et cetera. The damage has been done. Trump, who was talking about a 2 weeks diplomacy session, giving time to people to get their heads straight last night for some reason, well, we can discuss that, decided to send the bombers in and to do I believe it's called the bunker busters.
Yeah.
And then what I found very interesting, Mitra, is that within that bombing, he literally threatened Iran again. I mean, it's like
Yes.
I
Yes.
slap you in the face and I tell you,
Yes.
don't hit me back. I mean,
Yeah.
because if you hit me back, I'm going to slap you harder. I mean, to me, it's
Yeah.
insanity. So I think I'd like to start by just getting your opinion on what now, because now we're in it. We can't backtrack. Now we're in. So what now?
Right. So I think people need to pull back and realize this isn't just about Iran and obviously Israel. I think it's greater than that. It's about really the American attempt to maintain American hegemony in the region. And it sees Iran, China, and Russia as an obstacle to that. But the Iranians and their allies, particularly China and Russia, are looking at this not from a military perspective alone, but economic and political, particularly political. Because remember, the intention of Iran was to show its own people and the world that
Intention of
the,
what? Iran or
the
Iraq?
Iranian, no, Iran, the Iranian government, to show
Okay.
its people that it was behaving in a way to protect them from being destroyed by the U.S. And whether you agree or disagree, that is the mindset in Iran. Their intention was also really to damage United States in the international scene, and it has. I think there is no disagreement that the perception of the international community is United States went to war because of the power of the Israeli lobby and the new cons, I should say, and we're at this war because of Israel. So politically, they have achieved that already. That will leave economic and military. So when you do an economic war, it isn't 1 day or 2 days or 3 days. It's in a long haul. They realize United States is facing major economic crisis. So I think what will happen is they're going to respond. They already responded to Israel a few hours ago. They're going to hit. They're going to take their time with the U.S. The Iranians don't hit the U.S. They're going to build up, build up, build up, and they're going to intertwine military with economic. So they're going to hit. Oil prices is going to go up. The U.S. will have to come back, and then oil price is going to go up, and it's going to start a vicious cycle, which I think may even include the closing of Strait of Hormuz, that will eventually have a massive economic impact on U.S., which
All
could
right.
be obviously inflation and everything
All
else.
right. Let me
We
let
are
me
here.
let
We
me have
can't
a
go back.
let me have a rebuttal to that because
Okay.
I think I think if Israel
Mhm.
bombs the refineries in Iran, which they're talking about doing,
Mhm.
they're talking about economics. Well, there goes that way, the only way currently that Iran is making money. That's number one. Number two, it's interesting to me that you called the Iran, Russia, and China alliance. Did you see in the paper the other day how they have been spying on each other, um, unbeknownst to their country? And third, I want to just say I really don't believe in these alliances. I think these alliances are um, as strong as a piece of paper we're holding in our hands sometimes. I think China is interested because they, at the moment, due to geography, get the majority of their oil from Iran. So my question is, when we're talking about what now, my question to you, well, my question is, what happens if the oil refineries are bombed? You're talking about economical. And
Right.
another point which we can discuss further down the line is, and I think we both agree, is that the US has made a big blunder. They got involved in something they should not have gotten involved in. If Israel wants to bomb Iran, let them do it on their own. We don't have to be their backup team. So now my question is, you know, you talk about economic and military, what happens now if the
Right.
refineries are
That's
bombed?
fine. Well, first of all, let me make something clear. China gets a lot of its oil also from Russia.
No,
So
I
if the
agree.
oil
It's just
goes right, so it's not Iran. It's
closer.
already shifted.
No,
It's
no, it's
different.
closer. That's all I was saying.
Right. That's what I'm saying. And then second of all, the oil prices will go up, which were the Iranians and the Chinese and the Russian ones. In terms of spies, everybody spies one another. But I would be careful when they say that because you have to understand China and Russia have no choice, sorry, but to support Iran because there is a view that they're not just coming after Iran. They want to destroy China and Russia as well because the intention of the West is to stop the flow of power and the influence of China, Russia in the region and above. So if Iran goes down, the Chinese ability to expand and to maintain its influence in Central Asia, West Asia, and obviously its Silk Road is significantly declined. It's the same thing with Russia. Remember what happened? The Russians and the Iranians were both attacked with the same ammo. They came in, they used a thing, the little drones, and the little drone system was put together.
When was Russia attacked? Sorry, when?
A couple of weeks ago from the little drones. Do you remember when they were
from
attacked?
Whom? From whom?
Right. Well, according to the reports, and the Israeli admitted, the Mossad, the CIA, the MI6 sat down with Ukraine. They did the same ammo.
Oh, you mean okay, now I know what you're talking about. Okay,
right. So it's the same ammo. So the Chinese analysts and the Russians said, we have no choice now because they're coming after Russia, they're coming after Iran, and China is next. So they are intertwined. So the alliances is not about what I like and what I don't like. All three of them are intertwined. And I think the American people and the world needs to be aware that wars aren't 1 day or 2 days or 10 days. It will be long, it will be messy, and it would be economic, military, political. So, and for me, what I found fascinating.
But Mitra, of course, war is economical, political.
Right.
And I mean, you're
No.
I
You're
mean,
missing
what
the
do you
point.
think? What do
So
you
what
think
I'm saying is that
is?
this is just the beginning. So when the president says, I'm going to hit once, right, and I'm leaving. If Iran hits me back, I'm going to hit you back. Well, the Iranians want you to hit you back because the strategy of Iran, they're going to come in. They want to drag the U.S. in. They want to drag us on economically. And I think those who, push for this war, yes, they're not going to attack. They're afraid Iran is done. It's the same thing they said about Iran when Israel hit. But listen, a day later,
but Mitra, I know that look, I know that you're pro-Iran and this, that, and the other.
Wait a minute. It's not pro-Iran. You pulled that back. Just a minute. That's a wrong word.
What is
I am pro-US, but it's a wrong word. I am pro-US. Don't say that I'm pro-Iran. That's unfair. I am pro-US, so there's no wait a minute. I question the mindset of going to a war.
Well, of course we all do, but the point is
that doesn't make you a pro-Iran.
But you are pro-Iran. Wait a minute. Hold on.
Wait a minute. I find that offensive.
Why?
Because I'm not pro-Iran. I'm pro-US. It's the same thing they said about Russia. If you criticize American policy in Ukraine, you're pro-Russia. I'm not pro-Russian. I'm an American.
Mitra, let me ask you a question. If you're not pro-Iran, okay, I didn't mean to offend you. Sorry for that. I didn't mean that.
It's okay.
If you're not pro them,
right? That's okay. You got to use your words carefully.
Okay. How then have I never heard any negative vocabulary coming from you?
You're not listening. You're not listening to me because because I'm telling you, the Iranians are more powerful than you think. You think, oh my God, we hit this. But you don't seem to understand.
Well, now you're testing me because I never said that, and I never ever said.
Yes, you did. You told me a month ago. Oh, the Americans will never attack Iran. I said yes, they will. Look, a month
ago, Mitra. A month ago,
I have the video, Vicky. You have the text. You have the text.
No, it's okay. But a month ago, it was totally different. Israel didn't do anything.
But I told you a month ago. Right. Let me finish. Let me respond to that. Right. So. It is sort of like why you shouldn't go to war. And so now, and as I told you before, my job is to protect the US. And you only know me for some time, but you take my class. I have never been wrong in that 20 years that I've been teaching. I warned about Iraq, Libya, Syria. So for me, the same people that pushed for the war in Iraq, in Libya, in Syria, in Ukraine, thought that the Arab Spring was about democracy, thought that the people will stand up, are the same ones who are pushing for this. So if they were wrong on Iraq, on Libya, on Syria, on Ukraine, on Arab Spring, they're wrong now. And I
Why
know
are they
what
wrong?
Iran has.
Why are they wrong?
Because they said, I will tell you they're wrong. Because they were wrong, because Iraq is not better off, Libya is not better off, Syria is not better off, we're not better off. This war isn't military. China and Russia became powerhouse, you know more than that, because we were involved in this region. So now, from my concern, isn't just military. People need to understand. In a military war, buildings get blown up. In a military war, people will die. In a military war, one day you will do well, one day you will do bad. That's just war. For me, it's economic and political. Political, we're already using because of this. Now, you may not respect social media, into the power. I know the power of that. But for me, it's economic. I understand.
Answer my question. Then forgive me, but answer my question. What happens if the oil refineries get bombed? What happens?
Right. I think
about economically.
Right. So if no. But you have to understand.
Tell me.
Economically, I think the Iranians are prepared for that because this is a country that has been under sanctions for 45 years.
Yeah.
And so they have economic benefits from other areas. They can get the oil from Russia. They have their gas. And by the way, if you hit their gas refinery, you do realize Iran and Qatar are interconnected in gas. So if you hit the gas refineries, you're also hitting Qatar's refinery because you're going to stop the flow of gas going to Qatar.
I'm asking you about the oil refineries. So
the oil isn't oil, Vicky, is equivalent to gas.
You talked about the money, about the oil prices going up. And
of course, and it's going to impact, right? It's going to impact the U.S. and Israel more because they can handle sanctions. The Chinese have already been given them what they wanted. They said, we give you whatever you want. The Russians said,
what? The Chinese said, we'll give you whatever you want?
In terms of food, in terms of economic, we'll help you. The Russians already said,
I'm not sure about that, Mitra.
Yeah, listen to me. Okay.
I'm not sure about that. Because what you're saying.
Give you an example?
Wait a minute. Hold on. What you're saying now is if China is going in and saying to Iran, we'll give you whatever you want.
Economically, yes.
Is already in.
Of course they're in. Of course China is in.
Not in. They were not in.
They were in before you didn't see it, Vicky. Let me ask you something.
They were not in. They were not in. They were not in. They were.
Can I disagree with you? Can I tell you why I disagree with you?
Okay.
The Sea Alliance, China, Iran, Russia. Yeah. It's like a triangle that was put together several years ago. They were intertwined. It became clear to all three that they are so intertwined that if one of them goes, the other one could fall. And so one of the reasons people do not understand at that time, they were criticizing Iran for giving so much to China, was that the Iranians know China has influence now. So if they lose Iran, they use that entire region, and they don't want that. They just don't come and say it to your face. If you look at several days ago, Pakistan came up and said, I'll give you the planes, I'll give you the fighters, I give you whatever they want. That push came from China. So what I'm trying to tell you, the traditional mindset in the West, certainly those who are pushing for this war, say, yeah, bravo. They're like, oh, the Chinese are involved. They are involved. They're involved in so many ways you cannot imagine.
But Mika, what you're misunderstanding my point is, of course they're involved because of the geography, the business.
No, it's
but my question is, they are not involved in the war. They do not want to get involved in war.
There are, Vicky, you're looking at war from military. I'm looking at war economic as well and political. China knows it is an integral part. Iran is an integral part of his Belt Road Initiative because it's connection to Central Asia, because it's connected to West Asia. If Iran goes, so will they.
I understand that, Mitra. I understand that.
Well, that's why they're involved. So I think people need to pull back.
My point to you is, I think we're speaking aside from one another because I agree with you. They're involved. They're all they geographically they are neighbors. They must be together. We're way over here. We have no clue.
What I was trying to say is Uh-huh.
I did not think
Yeah.
that they would be involved in quote unquote combat war, drones, this, that, and the other for Iran. That's
I didn't say drones. The combat
no,
drones came from
I know. That's
Russia.
why I was saying
And economic.
we were talking aside from one another.
Right, exactly. Look, every one of them has a job. Every one of them, all
Yeah.
three of them. One
Right.
is military, one is political, one is economic. So if you recall, I don't know if we said several years ago that what would you do if Russia will go to Ukraine, Iran will go to war with Iran, and China starts circling Taiwan? For me, everyone is looking here, right, from the Israeli conflict. But I am looking at Russia hitting Ukraine left and right. And when Mr. Putin came up and yesterday said, there is no Ukraine, it was missed in the press.
No, it wasn't. We all saw it. We all saw it.
No. You are different, Vicky, because you're part of a certain group. No disrespect intended. But the majority of it was overlooked. And they're hitting, right? And so then you're beginning to see China saying, yes, yes, yes. So my question becomes, how long before China starts circling Taiwan? So what I'm trying to tell you that these three are intertwined. This is just the beginning. People are assuming the Iranians not going to hit back. They're scared. I said, it doesn't work that way. The Iranians respond.
Nobody ever said Iran would not hit back.
No. If I may, yes, that is the intention of the president and those who support. They wouldn't dare.
Yeah, okay.
Right. And so the Iranians will hit back, but in a manner, not in just in a traditional manner. And their intention is, right, they will drag us in. The intention of these
That's why I said to you that it was the stupidest decision.
Yeah, they're going to drag us in.
Exactly. And that was what I agreed with you 100% when, and that's what I said, what now? We are the guy who said, I'm pro-peace, I don't want war, I want everybody to make a deal, suddenly within 2 days decides the 2-week thing is over and decides to send the bombers in. I think, and remember when he said, I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to do because I don't think he knew what he was going to do. So my question again to you is,
what now?
Who told him? Who told him?
Because it was the Israelis. You mean that? Well, look, for me,
you think really that Netanyahu called up Trump and said, "Help
me"? Listen,
come on,
listen to me. Oh, of course, listen to me. Even if you don't, can I tell you something? Even if that's not the case, you're smarter than I am. You know that's the perception. I think politically. That's the perception. I think for the terms of the United States, politically, this has massively caused a split within the Republican Party. And I think even people think, oh, we're going to be behind the president. But now you are going to see that 50% of the Americans didn't vote for Trump, 48%. I think out of that 48%, 75% are going to be against Trump even now.
Yeah.
Because you can support it. And then from the mega side, half of them, if not more, will join. I think you will see a crisis for the president. I
agree. And that's why
they're going to fall in order. They're not going to fall in order. I think you will see politically for the United States for President Trump.
Yeah.
If things get bad, as I think we are, you're going to see step towards impeachment. And you are going to see that, and you are going to have that support because when the magnificent thing about social media, Vicky, and I know you disagree with that.
No, I don't disagree with you, but I know what you mean.
But it's that it gives voice to the unheard and the unseen. And so social media is Instagram, it's TikTok, it's YouTube, it's Facebook, it's Twitter, in all of these things, particularly for Twitter and YouTube and such. It is allowing the American people, and when I follow, and it is them, you will see that at least 70% is against this war. If not more. Absolutely. And it's allowing the American public, forget about the world that are against the US, forget about that side. Internally to have a massive impact. So the Iranians know that. The Chinese know that. The only countries that are supporting the United States openly are the same Eurocentric nations that attacked the MENA region.
But Mitra, to be very honest with you, if you look at what Europe is doing, first of all, you have him leaving the G7. He didn't go to the NATO meeting. I mean, he's poo-pooing everything. So we're literally an island now. I mean, we're literally on our own.
Right, with the exception of the same Eurocentric Anglo-Saxons, the Germans, the
No, but
Brits.
they're not. That's why I disagree with you, because right
The
now,
Brits are supporting. They just said it this morning.
but look, let's be very honest. Starmer will say, yes, we'll do this and that. The British public, like the American
absolutely,
public, are like, no way, Jose. And
exactly.
If you look at what's happened, and I think that
I agree.
The people will speak louder than the guys. Now, my question is, because we're running a little bit out of time. All right, we've discussed this. And I agree with you.
Yes.
Russia, China, and Iran, of course, they're extremely strong together. I have to wonder, nobody has a leash on Netanyahu. He does whatever the fuck he wants, and he's proving that back and forth, back and forth. And I think, I mean, yes, maybe he chose this time to hit Iran. God knows why. There's many, many reasons why in my head, in your head, and this and that. But I think for me, the problem is why did we take the bait? Why did we take the bait? We should have just stayed out.
But it's too late now.
Wasn't Trump actually talking to the Iranians? Weren't they?
No, it was a ruse. And can I tell you, the Iranians knew, and that's what concerns me.
Okay.
Because the Iranians knew when you would go to the Iranian press or off the street, people say, oh, the American is setting up a trap. But when Netanyahu attacked Iran, that was the greatest political gift you could give to Iran.
Yeah.
Because remember, the war is also political. Iran has two audiences, internal and external. Internally has unified the country. And for the past 2 days.
Wait. What did you just say? Internal
and externally.
He's unified the country? That is not so. I don't agree with that. There are
I'm talking about people. No, internally against. No, the internal Iran. The President Trump's attack has unified the Iranian people.
But you're talking about social media, and I mean,
no, I'm not talking about social media.
Wait. The things that I've been reading are a large majority of people are sick and tired of the regime in Iran, and they want to have a new government.
No, with all due respect, if you talk to all the analysts and if you talk people, Iran had 30% support the government, but fanatic. Now it's 60, if not more. Why?
Where do you hear this? I'd be interested because I'm not seeing that.
Absolutely. You know what? Go to Twitter Parsi, go to Google the reason.
No, I'm not going to.
Okay, I will send you the information. And by the way, I talk. By the way, I call. Listen to me. I call Iran. I call people around the region. And what you have done now is that the government has proven to them. We were in Syria because we didn't want Iran to be attacked. Look, we left Syria and America attacked Iran from Syria. The Israelis attacked Iran from Syria. We have a nuclear system because we knew America was attacked. So when you see that
did you just say we have a nuclear system because Syria?
In other words, what I'm trying to tell you is that we stayed in Syria, they argued, because America was going to attack.
Who is we?
The Iranians were saying to their population. Do you understand? They were saying, look what Israel did, look what the US did. So it has proven that view. So if you have to let me finish, Vicky.
Okay, sorry.
Let me finish. That's okay. And so even the diaspora, there's only two groups of diaspora that supports the Iranian Jewish community outside of Iran and their small Pahlavi. And what it was so magnificent, unique, was that when Mr. Pahlavi came in and said, it's okay to attack Iran because the Israeli says we're going to do a regime change. As much as the Iranians, majority of them don't want the government, regime change is out. No one tells the Iranian what to do. So when you go to listen to the people, when you read the response of the people, when you talk to your friends, they are vehemently against it. And so it has proven to them that they were there. So they have a sense of nationalism now that even if they don't want it, they have to give credit to the government that they supported them. So because the government proved its point. Now, whether that's fair or not is irrelevant. What matters is, Vicky, as I said before, the intention of the Iranians wasn't just internal support, but external. I think there is no denying that Israel after this will never be the same, and the pro-Israeli lobby will never be the same. And by that I mean is that what the Iranians have shown to the world is that the US can't be trusted because of Israel. because Israel and Zionists and neocons run the US. And I think that's why they have won that politically. Now, my concern becomes, and I have to tell you, I'm extremely concerned internally when this is just the beginning and you've already reading in social media, you've already seen it on television, you're already reading the article, people saying, we've gone to the war for Israel. And so when the situation gets bad,
but can I
wait a
interrupt for
moment,
second?
when the situation gets bad, that Israel term will be replaced by somebody else.
All right,
That
so
is my
now I would
concern.
like to make a rebuttal.
Sure, sure.
So since the awning of Israel, all the Iranians have said is death to Israel. Israel wipe them off the map, yada yada yada. We all know the same story. Every Ayatollah that has come in has been the same. As you know, even when I went to that conference in Tehran and we had a map of the Middle East, there was
Yeah, of course.
we know the whole spiel. So the point for me is also, and I think this is something that you are not touching on, and that is
Tell me.
number one, you're talking about how suddenly all of Iran is behind the regime, and
No, I never said that.
no, but you're behind.
I never said that.
You've unified Iran because now
it's externally attacked. Yes.
Let me finish a sec. So
Sure.
the bad Israelis are coming, and now we're unified, and we're going to fight. You're literally doing what they're expecting you to do, i.e., be against Israel. Number one. Number two, the main reason for this, and it goes back to Iran lying and lying again and lying 3 times over about their nuclear capabilities. And I think this is something that you are not addressing. Do you think, I mean, I don't think any of these idiots should have nuclear weapons, but especially Pakistan, India, Israel.
But it's here. But it's here now.
I agree. But the main point from Israel's side was, and I don't know if they have, I mean, did you see, again, this is social
You
media.
do realize they have nuclear weapons. You know they have it.
I know they have it, but the point, what I'm trying to say is isn't it possible? Isn't it possible?
Right.
And I don't want to get into a big spiel because I think
Of course,
isn't it possible that Israel feels this is the time, regardless. I understand what you're saying about the Russia.
No, I understand. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Isn't this the time now?
Of course.
Before it gets too heavy to hit Iran. I mean, there is a reason they went in now rather than later or earlier.
Right. So I think, yes, I give you that. Of course, Israel feels that way.
We have 4 minutes left.
Okay, absolutely, Israel feels that way. But the problem for that is that it's Israel, not the U.S. So now we are going to pay for that. In which return,
100%
it's going to hit Israel. So I think about lying. I think they didn't lie about the nuclear capability. It is we who died. It is Israelis who lied for 20 years. And the American public.
Wait. Go back. I don't understand. Why did the Israelis lie? What did you mean? Explain.
Well, for the same time, for how many years Israel says Iran is a week away from nuclear weapons? Why? Because they want to drag the U.S. in. That's done. So I think if I ask you, do you think Iran has done major damage to Israel? You will say no. But I will tell you.
No, I will say yes. I will say
major damage. Fine, we agree to that. So I think that's why they dragged the U.S. in, because you have religious fundamentalists like Ted Cruz saying we have to go to war for Israel. And I'm sitting here, believe me, Jesus ain't going to come back. Why? Because he had such a good time last time, he's going to come back. So it's like, I'm going to come back and Jesus is going to come back. So, I'm like sitting here, oh my God, this man has his fingers on nuclear weapons.
But Mitra, let's wrap it up because we're about to lose time. I think what we can both wrap up is America has gotten into some shit we should not be in, and we're going to pay the price for sure. B, I agree 100% with you that the population of America does not want war. We will have a definite impact on Trump, his presidency, and the MAGA movement. Already, we're going to have it. And again, I don't know how he can just do this without having Congress okay it. Number 3, I agree that China, Iran, and Russia will probably be stronger. What I'm watching, and I think this is an interesting side, is how Europe and the leaders of Europe are, in my opinion, maybe I'm wrong, separating slowly from the US. They are not accepting the bombing of Iran. Okay, well, I understand Starmer. I think he's just kiss
But
ass.
Europe is 28 nations. They're not all going to support that. If you
No,
look at the
but
Greek,
I think they don't,
that,
because they know what they are having right on their border in Ukraine. They don't
yes,
want to have this shit there. And I think,
yes,
well, we have to end now, but I think let's watch this space. But I agree with you on
yeah,
most of your topics, and
yeah.
I think that America has gotten themselves into something we do
This
not
is
want to be in.
right. I think
Absolutely.
this is just the beginning. I think people tend to see, and I know you have to go in a few minutes. If you just allow me 2 minutes, I think those who support these actions tend to not to learn from history. And I
Yeah,
think Europe, if we go to military, I don't see NATO being involved because they're too
agree.
busy in Ukraine. You
Agree.
may have the French, the Germans, the Brits. We're behind you. We're behind
No, but
you.
not really. I don't agree. I think
No,
they
I
won't
don't
be.
think I don't think the British people are going to send their
No,
sons and daughters died to Israel.
no way,
And I will
Jose.
tell you now, I think this will have major impact, not just there, but here. But this
Absolutely.
is, this was just the beginning.
Yeah, I
This
agree.
war, this event between the Iranians will be a year.
Yeah,
And that's my concerns. So
yeah.
if people are waiting for Iran to respond today or the
Oh
American, it's
no,
not
no,
that.
they're gonna take their time
They
because
take
they have
their
time.
sweet time.
They're
They
gonna
take
drink
their
their
sweet
tea
time.
and they're gonna take their time.
They're going to take their time, but they're going to start hitting you. I want to see the oil prices. Do you understand?
Yeah.
I want to see, because what I didn't like this morning was that the Iranian government says, we have mined the Persian Gulf. Come on in. That I don't like, because what happens is, forget about the Iranians hitting the bases. My concern is all three of them, their alliance, want to drag us in. And one way or other, we're already in.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like you're in the ocean.
yeah.
I don't like the beach, but you're in the ocean. You're swimming in the
Absolutely.
ocean. And so they're going to drag you in, and the water is going below, the sands are going. That is my concern.
Yeah.
So I think this is, I tell people, I was up to like 4 in the morning. I was being interviewed, I was being called. I said, listen, this is just the
The
beginning.
beginning. I agree.
The Iranians are like panthers. They don't do it that way. They know they were coming. They knew. So the question is, why did they do it? I said, you have, sometimes you're going to allow a hell to lose so you can win the war. They
All right.
know they were coming.
Let's end it there. That's a good point.
Thanks.
We'll end it there and I will and we'll see what happens in a week. We'll touch base back in a week and see where we are.
Absolutely. No
Thank
way.
you,
Thank
Mitra.
you. Bye
Thank
bye.
you.